Hello, welcome everyone. This is the first of the series of a motivational series of Why Do Mathematics? So this series is aimed at students of all levels. So you might just be starting out learning your multiplication times tables. Perhaps you're studying in high school, working towards some tests and really getting the best grades you can. Perhaps you're deciding what to do after that. Perhaps which university degree to choose and what your career path might be. Or even perhaps like me, you're a parent or a teacher and learning how to teach and motivate students. So hopefully you'll come along for the ride. My goal is to really just take the fear and anxiety out of mathematics, and I hope you can stay curious and excited to come along with me to learn something new. So the main idea here on why do mathematics is very simple. It's because it makes you smarter. And this might be like a simple concept, but it's not so simple. Um, it's an interesting idea. The idea goes all the way to Plato, and you might say doing chess and really thinking strengthens the mind, and perhaps mathematics strengthens the mind as well. Just like when you go out for a jog, you run, you've got physical exercise, you're sweating, you're exercising those muscles, you're quite uncomfortable perhaps, but really this process is getting you fitter and um, I would say is getting you smarter when you do mathematics. A bit of background to this. Um, I don't always know all the answers, but there is some research and some opinions which does seem to confirm this. So there's this article which I'll put at a link at the bottom of this video, and it is well known, according to research as well, that the smartest students in university in terms of IQ are mathematicians and physicists. So that seems to be a good sign. And we will touch more on this in later videos as well. But for now, I think if you run with it, I think that maths does make you smarter. I will mention that, of course, maths is not the only subject. For example, English is important for writing ability and the ability to communicate. Arts is for creativity and to self-express what perhaps your inner dreams are, um, and to express things that you love. So I really wish someone told this to me when I was studying. So it would really help me during those tough times. Um, but again, I would say when you're practicing and you're not really motivated to do much or to pay attention in class, I really highly encourage you to really think about this concept that maths, of all the subjects that you might be studying, maths is really the main, and I would argue only, foundational subject that directly improves and challenges your ability to solve problems. So hopefully it sounds important and hopefully it sounds something that's worth looking at. There must be some important, if it so sounds so great, there must be some important people who are good at maths, and hopefully a few of these faces are familiar. These are the richest people on the planet. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos with a funny face, don't know why, and Bill Gates. Bill Gates has actually come down to number 5, but there are a few, interestingly enough, energy tycoons, I think, and maybe fashion as well, who's richer than Bill Gates. But I think these are the famous ones who you might have heard of before. This is a great segue into some advice from Elon Musk. So he said his tips is it is important to view knowledge as a sort of semantic tree. Make sure you understand the fundamental principles, that is, the trunk and the big branches, before you get into the leaves or details. Otherwise, there's nothing for them to hang on to. So let's think of knowledge as a tree, and I'll go through some examples of how we can view maths like this as well. Okay, so the first example is algebra, and we may have some younger students in the crowd, so perhaps we'll just start as division. At the bottom, the core concept, the biggest chunk is division, and in this example, weight measurements such as what is a gram. So that's just the most important thing. Without division, without knowing what a gram is, we won't get anywhere. The next one is algebra, and this is a major branch which we'll learn in high school. And this is just so important and is such a powerful way of thinking about problems. And the application in real life, the detail is this example is we're baking. So one cookie takes 15 grams of butter and 20 grams of flour. How many cookies can I bake if I have 250 grams of butter and 230 grams of flour? This is actually a very difficult problem to solve in your head. I can't solve it. I need to write it down, and I need to use algebra to do it. So that's just one example. The next example, again around a year 7 level, is about probabilities. So at the base, the core concept is what is a probability? What does it mean for something to have a 50% chance? Then we combine this with taking quite a jump is to climate science. Then to the next jump is to numerical forecasting. And finally, the real application at the end is what is the chance it will rain tomorrow? With quite a fun picture here. And we take all of this for granted. Um, can we do a barbecue tomorrow? What will the weather forecast say? There's a lot of concepts here, but really at the bottom of it, at the core concept we need to really get very comfortable with is probabilities. The last example I've got is trigonometry. So if I just look at this picture, it's very beautiful. Um, it's quite a work of art, actually. How do we build this? At its core concepts, it's using a lot of triangles, I can see, and other shapes as well. But that's what trigonometry is all about, is calculating the area and length of triangles. The next step, the major branches, you would say, is combining this with an engineering and architecture um, expertise. And then really that's how, with a lot of this knowledge, we come up to build quite magnificent buildings. So that's it. So next in the series, coming up, I really want to share some more examples on how maths can be interesting, how it can be useful as well, incredibly rewarding and satisfying. Um, you know, if we're not scared about it, and if we don't have that anxiety, we're not scared about falling behind, um, everybody learns at their own pace. And that's really what I want to cover in perhaps the second series on the mental health side, and then perhaps in a third series of how to catch up. So I have quite an ambitious goal to answer all of the questions. Hopefully you'll enjoy this series, and see you in the next video.